Hello there. The following video that you're going to see was originally filmed as a 65-minute video, and unfortunately, after hours of trying to get it uploaded to YouTube, it didn't work. So what I've had to do is I've had to split it into two roughly half-hour segments. So what you're going to see is part one of the live stream. That's not a live stream. Part two, just to confuse you, and then loaded up on the same day, we'll also have the second part as well. So that's part two of part two, of which I'll do also a introduction as well. So enjoy. Hello and welcome to another video. It's a different video this time. We're not doing a review of any particular product. As you may have seen a couple of weeks ago, I did a nearly an hour-long video looking at some of my vintage toys that I had kept from when I was a kid, and I promised you that I'd dig some more stuff out so we could have another look at that, and that's what I've done here. So again, I'm not quite mastered the whole live stream thing, so this Bearded Geek toy review video will be part two of the live stream. That is not a live stream. I promise I will get my head round doing a proper live stream at some point, but at the moment, just really busy. My son's started high school, so I've been busy with that, busy with work and stuff like that as well. So, and obviously, you know, you've got to have a bit of time for your personal life as well. So, you know, I just thought, yeah, let's do part two. So I've dug out the rest of the boxes that I've got, which are the stuff that I kept from when I was a kid. Some of this stuff I've not looked at for God knows how long, and it's been in storage. So I will obviously just go through what we've got. What I do know is that I've not got stuff like my old Action Men. They were given away. Action Force, I don't think I kept any of that, sadly, which is a real shame because I absolutely love that range. I loved it as a kid. It was kind of like my second favourite, I think, toy range after Star Wars. And then, sadly, you know, I'm a big Doctor Who fan as well. Didn't keep any of my Dennis Fisher Doctor Who figures, or the TARDIS playset, or the Palitoy talking Dalek, or K9. Don't know where they went. I'm pretty sure I didn't give them away, because by the time I was giving toys away or deciding what to keep, which is probably when you hit about my teenage years in the mid to late 80s, Doctor Who wasn't very popular then. It was kind of like nearing the end of its classic run. So, you know, whether they would give into a charity shop or just thrown in the bin, I don't know. And it's absolutely criminal, really, because before COVID, and when you used to go to like memorabilia fairs and you know, Comic Cons and stuff, and you'd see these stalls, and it used to sometimes break my heart a little when I kind of like going, oh, I used to have that. Oh God, it's worth £500 now. I used to have that. Oh, that's 250. Oh, I used to have that. Oh, I used to have that. And you kind of like see how, not the value of like how much these toys are worth, because it's more the sentimental value. But it would be nice to have some of those toys back. But collecting vintage toys is an expensive business, which is something that I'll probably cover in a bit more detail if we get around to it later on, which is probably the reason why I've got these things here to discuss later. So without further ado, let's have a look in the first box. Now it does say on the top of it, Boba Fett, Luke, Leia, C-3PO, R2-D2, Spider-Man, Rom, Jaws. So I'm guessing these are classic, the big figures. Yeah, well, hold on, let's just take that. For some reason, I have kept my Atari tape machine that you used to load games onto your Atari computer. I don't know why, because I haven't kept the bleeding Atari computer at all. Oh, and I've got some leads as well, which I presume are for that as well. Yeah, the Atari AC mains adapter. Let's see if we can flog those on eBay. They're no use to me. Okay. So first thing out of the thing is, I used to love this game as a kid. Is the Jaws game. Look at that. Yeah, I have got his fins. Oh wow, look at that. Got the bag with the accessories in it. And the fins. It's got the fins and the instruction booklet. Okay. So obviously the fins go on the shark itself. And if you remember this, because Jaws was huge, even into like, you know, the 80s, which is probably why they kept making awful sequels. Although Jaws 2 is not bad. Yeah. So what it is essentially it's like the game Buckaroo. So if you're aware of Buckaroo, which is the donkey that you have to hook things off, and then, you know, whichever one like sees the donkey do the Buckaroo action, you're then the loser. And it's the same with the Jaws thing. So what you do is you'd put elastic bands in there, and I think they would connect to something that's on the fins inside, and you'd load up the mouth with all the debris that Jaws has eaten, and then you'd take turns taking it out, and then obviously the first one that goes like that, you're the loser. I think you just carry on going until thing. But yeah, the game of Jaws, that was for 2 to 4 players. Out of the depths of the dark sea comes the shark. He's the terror of the sea, but not for you in this exciting game of Jaws. Wow, that really does take me back. I did keep a couple of my old games. I did have the Electronic Simon a couple of years ago, so you can see there. Now that I did actually sell on eBay. I'm going back probably about close to 15 years here. And ridiculously, I sold it just before Christmas. And I made an absolute fortune on it. I think somebody bought it off eBay. I think they wanted it as a Christmas thing. And I think this is before they relaunched it, like they do with these things. But because it was vintage and it was still in its box, still had the instructions, everything, it went for about 250 quid. Which before Christmas was a nice little, you know, thing. Well, yeah, that's cool. I really do like that. I might have to like give that a go. We'll play that one evening. Right. Okay. More bubble wrap. At least I wrapped stuff up well when I packed it away. Wow. This is cool. I can see other stuff on the bottom of this as well. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. That's a proper walking robot. Now these, every kid used to have these back in the 70s and 80s. These used to be a staple of the toy that every kid would get. And I think obviously you've got, oh, oops. I didn't realise that would actually hit the camera. I don't, the other missiles must have been long gone. Now I think this used to walk, the eyes used to light up, and it used to play like a kind of like a thing on the front. Let's have a look at the Now, the battery panel does have 2 big batteries, which I know that we do have. So is this the point where I pause the video, go and get some batteries and see if it still works? I think so. Okay, we're back, and bad news, folks, because we've only got those kind of batteries, which are too small to fit in there. So I think it's actually, those are C batteries. So I think it's the D batteries that it needs. Is it D batteries? Anyway, the even bigger, chunkier ones than those ones. So that's a shame. But what I may do is, if I get some of those batteries and if it works, I'll put up a little short video, because I've suddenly discovered that function. So you may have seen some of those videos popping up on the channel, just showing off some of the stuff that I got randomly, and also giving a little preview of stuff that's coming soon in certain videos. But yeah, that's really cool. That's proper retro. I remember my uncle actually had one, who's about 10 years older than me. His used to be really cool because it used to have a robot head, and then they used to do the zzz, 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 and then it would stop and then do this action. But his robot head used to pop open, and there was like a lizard style Godzilla head underneath it, and then it used to like kind of like roar. That was really, really cool. But yeah, you don't really see those anymore, do you? They're kind of like more remote control and controlled by apps and all the rest of it. A little bit of nostalgia there for you, those of you who like those robots. Okay, again, more bubble wrap. Aha. So, what have we got here? Now we've got two figures wrapped up here. So these look like they're the 12-inch figures. Wow. Holy hell. Spider-Man. My Mego Spider-Man. The 12-inch one, not the 8-inch one. Do remember I had some of the Mego 8-inch superhero line. Look at that. I mean, his costume's a little bit frayed there. That's very delicate. Oh, and he's got a hole where his toes sticking out. But look at that. I used to love that figure. And his hands have turned orange, where they used to be red. And the face is alright, needs a bit of a wipe. Look at that. That's really cool. See if we could just pop him on there. There he is. Spidey himself. And I wonder if anybody knows who this is. So, you've got Rom, the Space Knight. There you go. Now this was like an electronic figure, and it used to have, that's the battery compartment where you'd think, and then you've got lots of different things where you'd plug in, and then you've got switches on the back there where you'd program stuff, and he'd either do stuff like breathe, or if you plugged in his gun would then fire. And I don't think I've got those attachments. Doesn't look like it. But Ron the Space Knight was had a Marvel comic series, which I think, so he was a Marvel character at some point. Made by Parker Brothers, if I remember rightly, in the US, but then licensed to Palitoy. And the reason why I've got him is that he became part of the Action Man range. So if you remember, obviously if you're a child of the late 70s and 80s like I am, Star Wars was huge, and then obviously everybody jumped on the space bandwagon, and sales of Action Man started to suffer a little bit because obviously kids wanted to get into like the Star Wars figures. So what they did is they launched a Space Ranger, I think it was the Space Rangers they were called, Action Man range, where he was in an astronaut's costume, space age costume, and they had Rom the Space Knight as one of his allies, and he came with all these electronic things, and then so he was actually in the UK part of the Action Man range. Now the equivalent to Action Man in the US was Hasbro's G.I. Joe, but because he was made by Parker Brothers, and they weren't owned, I don't think they're still owned, they're one of the few toy companies that isn't owned by Hasbro these days. They weren't part of the G.I. Joe range. But I'm not going to try that with a battery because he hasn't got any of the attachments and stuff. So I'm going to have a look, more closely look into that and see what I can find of him, and perhaps do a special on him at some point. I absolutely bloody loved Ron. He was really cool. I'm going to keep Spidey there for a bit. Wow. Here we go. Oh, hold on. Ah. Tell a lie. Oh. I've got some ROM attachments. So that was like a scanner that he held. Unfortunately, one of the handles is broken off there. And that was his space gun. And again, the handle looks like it's broken off there. But what you would do is you would put it plugged into the side of the figure, and it had a light on the end of it, and you plugged that in there, and then obviously that would then light up, and that his ray gun would then go off if you hit a certain amount of combinations on the back of his neck. So I do have some of the attachments, I just don't have the electronics of it. And I've got a rocket pack here. Now I wonder who that could be for. Well, if it isn't old Boba Fett himself. 12-inch Boba Fett in Kenner style colours. Wow, look at that. Let's just put that on. Ooh. Oh, it fits on. Oh, clicks on as well. There you go, there's his rocket pack. Oops, don't want to lose that. I'm sure it had a missile at the top. And he had some Wookiee braids as well. That used to go around one of the arms. And a gun. Don't appear to have. It's amazing the things that you lose. But yeah, that's cool. And he's in virtually good nick for a 40-odd-year-old toy. He's one of the very last ones that was released in the 12-inch Star Wars line, before they then just decided to concentrate solely on the 3.75-inch figures. I think him and IG-88 were the only ones that were released from The Empire Strikes Back, and then after that they just abolished the line completely until they tried it again in the mid-90s when they Hasbro bought the license. But if I remember rightly, just taking off the old readers, if you look through the little thing there, you could see through his viewfinder, and then aim and shoot whatever bouncy that he was after. So that was a nice little touch. And I remember the $6 Million Man figure used to have that function, which I also had as well, and I don't know where that went. Yeah, Boba Fett, cool. Got a big mound of stuff in bubble wrap by my legs here. Aha! I think some more Star Wars 12-inch figures. R2-D2. Electronic version. Where the batteries go. Now, I'm not sure if he works. He's looking a bit worse for wear, but he's looking all right actually when you think about it. And similar to the 3.75 inch, like the little figure version, when you turn his head, it makes a clicking sound. Because obviously that's what R2-D2 does. He clicks. He doesn't beep. However, I think with this version, what you used to do is you used to press that, and then it would used to do the whole like and do all that kind of stuff. So he's looking a bit yellow there. But with the electronics on that one, that's not the kind of thing you'd probably dunk in a bowl of hydrogen peroxide. We'll put R2 there. In fact, we'll move Spidey there. There's R2. And I think you can't have R2-D2 without C-3PO. And look how good a condition he's in. Wow. Look at that. Now for sheer detail, that's impressive for 1978, it says on the back. General Mills group made in Hong Kong. And I like the fact that he's really kept his luster. He's still gold. And I've seen a lot of these where they've really faded over time. So it's probably helped that I've had this in storage, wrapped up in bubble wrap in a darkened box. Boy, he looks really good, doesn't he? Doesn't do anything, unfortunately. He's just like points of articulation aren't much. You know, his head moves and his legs. He can basically like do a bit of a goose step to sit down or like that. He's still quite. He's in very good nick. I do like the look of that. Not too much paint scratch on him either. Now, obviously, I had these, but I didn't really play with these as often as I did with the smaller figures. Yeah, there you go. C-3PO and R2-D2. Back together again. And the last two things in this box are a belt. Well, I think I know who that belongs to. And hopefully they're top to tail. Ooh. Oh dear. Now this must be the only doll I had, and she's looking a bit worse for wear. Don't know if she's had a bit of an accident while she's been in storage. But she looks like that could do with a wash, and her hair's everywhere, and she's got some kind of like stuff on the side of her face, white stuff on the side. Sorry. Yeah, enough of that. Princess Leia. And that's actually a very good likeness of Carrie Fisher for the 1970s. Yeah, well, we'll leave that there. And he's half undressed. What were they getting up to? Dirty people. She's your sister. Luke Skywalker. There you go. The 12-inch Luke Skywalker, who for some reason hasn't got his boots, hasn't got his belt, hasn't got his lightsaber. God knows where they went. He's looking a bit alright. The face is looking a bit thing, just needs a wash. And I don't know what's going on with these. I don't know whether that's just dirt or whether that's plastic slowly rotting away. Because these are made of softer plastic than your traditional 12-inch figures, because I think they bent. Yeah, they were like a bit bendy for, oh, those knees. Yeah, he looks like he needs a clean. And I don't know where his accessories are, unless they're in one of the other boxes. Obviously have a look for it. If not, eBay is the place to go. Speaking of which, if you saw the other video, you saw that I was missing some pieces for the Millennium Falcon, which I've sourced some 3D printed pieces, which are, should be on their way shortly. But yeah, there's Luke and Leia. Okay. Leia did come with her hair in buns in the traditional New Hope style, but they were matted, like kind of like wrapped round. The hair was wrapped around these plastic things, like donut things, where you kept them in. So again, I don't know where they've long gone. Right, I'm going to wrap you two up again so you can get up to your shenanigans. The privacy of your own box. So that's that first box. Some nice little things that I'd not seen for some time. So that's cool. So what we'll do, we'll have a bit of a swap round, and then I'll have a look in the next box. Well, I hope you enjoyed that first part, and I will be uploading and putting a link down below for the second part, which will be uploaded extremely shortly. So watch this space and enjoy part two of the live stream. That's not a live stream. See you soon.